Number 1. 1978 Cadillac Brougham. When you think of American luxury in the late 1970s, you can't help but picture something exactly like this, a 1978 Cadillac Brougham sedan. This particular example is being offered for $4,500 out in Midland, Texas, and it checks just about every box that made Cadillac the gold standard of comfort and prestige back then. The big body is finished in traditional white paint, a color that looks both elegant and imposing, especially when stretched across a car that measures over 18 feet long. Step inside, and you're greeted with a plush blue interior, complete with velvety fabric seats that immediately transport you back to the disco decade. Everything about this interior says Cadillac knew how to do luxury, from the soft door panels to the wide dashboard design. The odometer shows just 78,000 miles, which is remarkably low for a car that's closing in on 50 years old. Most Cadillacs of this vintage were daily driven into the ground, but this one has somehow survived with mileage that suggests years of gentle use. It still runs, though it needs a little bit of mechanical love before it can be considered road ready. Power comes from Cadillac's big V8 paired to a smooth automatic transmission, exactly the kind of setup you'd want for long, effortless highway cruises. This particular car has had only 2 owners, and it comes with a clean title, which adds a level of trust and confidence if you're considering it as your entry into the world of classic cars. The seller does note that it will need a new battery, replacement wheels, and some general TLC. The aftermarket rims you see in the photos won't be included in the sale, but that may be a blessing in disguise. A car like this looks best on its original factory-style wheels, which really drive home the period-correct vibe. This Cadillac offers a perfect canvas, depending on which direction you want to go. You could restore it to pristine showroom condition, with sparkling chrome, fresh paint, and that unmistakable Cadillac road presence. Or you could embrace it as a laid-back cruiser, fixing what's necessary and enjoying it for what it is, a true land yacht. Either way, it captures the essence of American luxury at its peak. The seller is also open to trades and reasonable offers, which makes this even more approachable. For $4,500, you're not just buying a car, you're buying into a time when bigger was better, comfort was king, and Cadillac was a name everyone else aspired to. Number 2. 1984 Ford F350 XL Diesel. From luxury, we shift gears to pure rugged utility. And that's exactly what this 1984 Ford F350 XL delivers. Priced at $5,500 and based in Medford, Oregon, this isn't just a truck. It's a piece of American workhorse history. This F350 is equipped with Ford's legendary 6.9-liter IDI diesel engine, a motor that has earned a reputation over decades for reliability, torque, and downright toughness. These engines aren't built for speed. They're built for pulling, hauling, and outlasting anything else on the job site. Pair that with a sturdy 4-speed manual transmission and a true 4x4 drivetrain, and you got a truck ready to tackle anything you throw at it, whether it's muddy trails, farm duty, or towing a trailer across the state. The seller has clearly put in a lot of work to keep this truck in fighting shape. Recent updates include new batteries, a fresh starter, a water pump, a fuel pump, new return lines, and other maintenance that ensures this truck isn't just sitting around waiting to die. Instead, it's ready to keep working. Sitting on aggressive 35-inch mud-terrain tires, with brand new rubber up front, this truck doesn't just look the part. It's built for serious off-road and heavy-duty use. It has that commanding stance that immediately tells you it means business. Of course, like any 40-year-old work truck, it's not perfect. The body shows its age. An interior could use some attention. You'll find wear, fading, and maybe even a few quirks that remind you it's lived a long, useful life. There are some minor leaks here and there, but nothing that stops it from performing its duty. For someone who wants a solid, reliable diesel platform, that's more than acceptable. This truck comes with a clean title, and the seller is open to trades, which is a nice bonus if you've got something interesting to offer in exchange. Trucks like this are getting harder to find, especially in a world where modern diesels are loaded with electronics and complicated emission systems. This one is old-school mechanical simplicity, a truck you can work on in your own garage without needing a laptop and a dealership. Whether you want it as a dependable work companion, a trail beast, or a starting point for a cool retro diesel build, this Ford F350 has all the right bones. Number 3. 1970 Plymouth Duster. Now, let's talk about a car that will make Mopar enthusiasts sit up and pay attention. A 1970 Plymouth Duster. Priced at $4,500 and located in Mill, Maryland. This is the kind of find people dream about when they think of barn discoveries. The Duster was Plymouth's answer to the compact muscle car market, combining lightweight design with plenty of potential for performance. This one, finished in a faded but unmistakable shade of gold with black interior, still carries all the raw lines that made the Duster such a hit in the early 70s. This car has been tucked away for decades, and now it's finally come back into the light. It's equipped with an automatic transmission and is mostly complete, which is a huge plus. There is rust, as you'd expect, but the seller insists it's manageable. Not the kind of rust that dooms a project, but the kind you can reasonably tackle with some effort. In fact, the seller is willing to help with restoration work if a serious buyer comes along. That's not something you see every day, and it can make a huge difference for someone who wants to bring this Mopar back to life without trying to coordinate multiple shops. The beauty of the Duster is its versatility. Some buyers might want to restore it back to stock, keeping that classic Mopar authenticity intact. Others might see it as a perfect platform for a rest-a-mod, maybe dropping a modern Hemi, upgrading suspension, and turning it into a street/strip monster. Either way, the Duster is one of the more affordable entry points into classic Mopar ownership, but finding one that's this complete is becoming increasingly rare. The seller is very clear. If you're interested, you need to come see it in person. No sight unseen deals here. That makes sense, since a project like this is something you really need to lay eyes on to appreciate and understand exactly what you're getting into. For $4,500, it's a chance to own and restore a real deal Mopar from the golden muscle car era. Number 4, 1985 Oldsmobile 442. Here's something raw, rugged, and dripping with 80s muscle car heritage. A 1985 Oldsmobile 442. Located in Huntington, New York, and offered at $3,500. This car isn't for the faint of heart. It's rough, it needs work, but it's also a legitimate piece of performance history. The 442 was Oldsmobile's top performance package of the mid-1980s, combining V8 power with a sportier suspension and distinctive styling. Even in rough condition, it carries an aura of nostalgia and potential. This particular car runs, drives, and shifts, though it's not roadworthy yet. It's missing an AC pump, and the engine has a noticeable tick. The seller says the noise isn't coming from the lower end, which is somewhat reassuring, but it still needs investigation. On the plus side, the car retains its original drivetrain, including the highly desirable 8.5-inch 3.73 Posey rear end and the overdrive transmission. Those components alone are worth a lot to collectors and builders, which means even if you wanted to part this car out, it has real value. Structurally, the 442 has some good points and some challenges. The trunk floor and quarter panels are solid, which is huge. The floor pans do have rust, and the doors are apparently too far gone to save. But overall, it's not a lost cause. With some sheet metal work, you could absolutely bring this back. And if you're someone who knows G-body cars, you already know parts are still available and there's a passionate community around them. At $3,500, this is a project car through and through. Whether you want to restore it, turn it into a retro-style street machine, or strip it for its rare components, the value is undeniable. The seller is old school and prefers calls or text for inquiries. If you're serious, pick up the phone and dial 516-526-1448. This isn't a car for everyone, but for the right buyer, it's a gritty but rewarding project. Number 5, 1976 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Closing out this list is a car that oozes 70s swagger, a 1976 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Offered at $7,800 in Rochester, New York. This personal luxury coupe blends vintage style with some tasteful modern upgrades. The Monte Carlo was one of Chevrolet's most successful models of the decade, combining long hood elegance with just enough muscle to back up its looks. This particular car still turns heads today, with its unmistakable chrome accents, flowing body lines, and a presence that makes it stand out in any parking lot. Under the hood sits a dependable Chevrolet 350 V8, but this one has been given a breath of fresh life thanks to a brand new Holley carburetor and a fresh intake manifold. Those upgrades don't just make it run better, They improve throttle response and drivability, making this more than just a pretty face. It's a car you can actually take out and enjoy. The seller describes the Monte Carlo as solid overall. It runs, drives, and provides a strong foundation for either a show-quality restoration or a unique custom build. The body is in clean condition, which is no small feat for a Northeast car, where rust typically claims vehicles long before they hit classic status. This one has survived, and that makes it all the more desirable. It's not perfect, it's not show-ready yet, but that's also reflected in the price. At $7,800, it offers a lot of car for the money. The seller is clear about expectations. No tire kickers, only serious buyers. This isn't a car for window shoppers. It's for someone ready to make a move. Interestingly, the seller is also open to trades, particularly for a Chevrolet C10 or an OBS truck. So if you got one of those, you might be able to strike a deal. The Monte Carlo represents an era when cars were about personality, presence, and cruising comfort. Whether you're adding it to a collection, using it as the base for a dream build, or simply enjoying it as is, this Monte Carlo has all the right ingredients. It's the kind of car you pull up in and immediately feel cooler. And isn't that what classic cars are all about? Number 6. Coming in at just $1,500 and located in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. This 1985 Buick Riviera Coupe 2D is the kind of car that instantly takes you back to a very specific era in American motoring. The mid-1980s were all about comfort, presence, and that special touch of personal luxury that Buick knew how to deliver. And this Riviera is a surviving piece of that legacy. Finished in a classic shade of blue on the outside, the car carries itself with a distinctive Riviera silhouette. Long hood, formal roofline, and those flowing proportions that made these cars look elegant without being over the top. It was a car designed to turn heads without shouting, and that personality still shines through today. Step inside and you're greeted by a matching blue interior, giving a period-correct, unified vibe. The upholstery, dashboard, and trim all blend together to capture that unmistakable mid-80s Buick atmosphere, a mix of plush comfort and subtle class. Under the skin, it's powered by an automatic transmission paired with a GM V8 that is just about 130,000 miles behind it. For cars of this era, that mileage is very reasonable. These engines were built to go the distance when taken care of. As it sits, the Riviera is very close to being fully roadworthy. The car does run and drive, but it will need a new battery and a replacement water pump belt before it can be trusted as a daily driver. Both of these are relatively inexpensive and straightforward repairs, making this an approachable project for someone who enjoys turning wrenches. The Buick Riviera has always been appreciated for its smooth cruising character, plush ride quality, and comfortable driving position. This example offers all of that potential at a very budget-friendly entry point. For someone who's been wanting to step into the world of classic cars without spending a fortune, this Riviera makes a strong case. Whether you plan to keep it as a weekend cruiser, freshen it up into a respectable daily driver, or dive into a full-on restoration, this Buick gives you solid bones to build upon at a price that's hard to beat. Number 7. Here's something a little different and undeniably cool. A 1985 Chevrolet Malibu El Camino, offered at $5,500 in Odessa, Texas. The El Camino has always been one of Chevrolet's quirkiest and most interesting creations, a vehicle that blends the sleek, sporty lines of a car with the practicality of a pickup bed. It's part muscle car, part utility hauler, and all attitude, which explains why these have built such a loyal following over the years. This example wears a tasteful, understated exterior finish that gives a clean, classic look. Up front, you got the long nose and squared-off styling typical of mid-80s Chevys, while out back you get that functional bed that makes an El Camino so versatile. Whether you want it for hauling light loads, cruising to a local show, or just standing out in traffic, this car-truck combo does it all with a style no modern vehicle can replicate. Mechanically, it's been kept in good working order. With about 178,000 miles showing on the odometer, it's definitely seen some use, but it's also had some meaningful updates to keep it running strong. Recent work includes a brand new fuel tank, a performance Edelbrock carburetor, fresh spark plugs and plug wires, and even new control arms, a big plus when it comes to handling and ride quality on a vehicle this vintage. Inside, You'll find that the power windows still function, which is a detail not to be overlooked, as many older cars suffer from finicky electronics. The heater works perfectly, making it comfortable in cooler months, though the air conditioning currently isn't blowing cold. That's not unusual for cars of this era, and is an issue that could be addressed down the line for those wanting full comfort year-round. With a clean title, solid mechanics, and mostly original styling, this El Camino offers plenty of charm and usability. It's a vehicle that doesn't just sit pretty in a driveway. It can actually be used and enjoyed. Whether you want it as a quirky daily driver, a weekend cruiser, or even as a basis for a more serious restoration, it gives you a dependable foundation with plenty of personality. For fans of unique classics that stand out from the crowd, this Chevy checks all the right boxes. Number 8. For buyers looking for something with more muscle-era attitude, take a look at this 1976 Pontiac Grand Prix. Priced at just $3,000 and located in Birmingham, Alabama. The Grand Prix was Pontiac's way of blending performance, size, and style into a single package, and this example carries that unmistakable 70s vibe. Under the hood, it packs the legendary Pontiac 400 cubic inch V8, paired with a TH400 automatic transmission. This combo has long been celebrated among enthusiasts for its toughness and performance potential. The car starts, runs, and drives, but it does have an issue worth noting. The reverse gear does not engage, which suggests the transmission may need repair or a rebuild. For the right buyer, this is more an opportunity than a setback, since a refreshed TH400 paired with strong 400 V8 can make this car a real powerhouse again. Visually, this Grand Prix makes a bold statement. It's currently sitting on a set of 24-inch aftermarket wheels, giving it a modern, aggressive street look. While purists might prefer factory wheels, the oversized setup definitely draws attention and adds presence on the road. Thankfully, the car retains much of its original body styling, so the character of the Grand Prix still shines through beneath the flash. Inside, the interior is in clean and complete condition, free from major damage, always a plus when buying a nearly 50-year-old car. Structurally, however, the car does show some rust in the trunk and floor pans. These areas will need to be addressed to preserve long-term integrity, but that's to be expected at this price point and age. The seller notes they are open to negotiation, making this an even more attractive entry into the vintage Pontiac world. For someone who wants an affordable project with loads of potential, this Grand Prix is a smart pick. Restore it back to stock, build it into a custom street cruiser, or simply enjoy it as a weekend tinkering project. The foundation is already here. With its strong drivetrain, unmistakable 70s lines, and aggressive stance, this Pontiac has the bones to become a real standout once brought back to its former glory. Number 9. For anyone who has an appreciation for well-preserved vintage utility vehicles, especially those with that unique combination of car comfort and truck functionality, this 1983 Chevrolet El Camino Custom is definitely worth a closer look. Priced at $8,250 and located in Redding, California, this El Camino stands out from the crowd not only because of its condition, but also because of the care and attention that has clearly been poured into it over the years. With just 108,500 miles showing on the odometer, it represents the kind of classic that has been driven and enjoyed, yet also meticulously maintained in a way that ensures it still feels dependable and solid today. The current owner has done a great job blending originality with practicality. Under the hood, this El Camino has received several important mechanical updates that make it far more reliable than many vintage vehicles you might come across. The valve job has been completely rebuilt, ensuring that the engine breathes properly and runs strong. The automatic transmission has been refreshed, which is a major plus since drivetrain work is often the biggest unknown on older cars. On top of that, new parts have been installed where it matters most. The carburetor has been replaced, a new radiator has been fitted to keep it running cool even on hot California days. The ignition system has been updated, and a new timing chain has been put in to make sure the motor stays in tune. Together, these upgrades make it a turnkey driver, something you can get in, fire up, and enjoy without the constant worry of what's going to break next. Security hasn't been overlooked either, which is unusual for a car of this era. A Viper alarm system has been installed, giving you some peace of mind whether you park it at a cruise night, outside your favorite diner, or in your driveway at home. For buyers who like documentation, this El Camino really shines. It comes with a full stack of service receipts, the original build sheet, and even a Carfax report, giving you a complete picture of its history and the confidence that it's been cared for the right way. Visually, the car presents itself with a timeless look. The silver exterior paint has a clean, understated vibe, classy without being over the top, while the tan interior complements it beautifully, creating a warm and classic two-tone appearance. It's the kind of color combination that was popular in the early 1980s and still looks stylish today without screaming for attention. With a clean title in hand and a proven history of careful ownership, this El Camino represents a great opportunity for someone who wants a vintage ride that is just as enjoyable to take down the highway as it is to park at car show and talk about with other enthusiasts. Number 10. If your automotive tastes lean toward Japanese classics, but you also appreciate the usefulness of pickup, this next vehicle is sure to catch your eye. Listed for $6,500 in Ripon, California, this 1978 Datsun pickup is a rare sight these days, and it offers that perfect blend of JDM charm with additional mini truck practicality. For fans of vintage Japanese vehicles, finding one of these in solid shape is becoming more and more uncommon, which makes this a pretty exciting opportunity. Finished in a bold red exterior that really pops against the sunlight, and paired with a clean black interior, the truck has covered just 133,000 miles over its lifetime. For a vehicle of this age, nearly 50 years old, that's actually a modest figure, especially for a pickup that was designed to work hard. The seller is upfront about the fact that it carries a salvage title, but it's reported to be mechanically sound and runs well. That's not something you can always say about a late 70s import pickup, many of which have been driven into the ground or rusted away. In this case, you're looking at a solid little truck that can be enjoyed right away without needing to sink a fortune into it just to make it roadworthy. One of the biggest highlights here is the manual transmission. Not only does it enhance the driving experience, making you feel more connected to the road and the truck itself, but also fits perfectly with the retro character of the Datsun. Manual gearboxes are getting rarer and rarer, especially in modern vehicles, so sliding behind the wheel of this truck and rolling to the gears adds an authenticity that enthusiasts really appreciate. Whether you're looking to enjoy it as a nostalgic daily driver, or you got bigger plans to build into a custom JDM mini truck with your own personal touches, this Datsun gives you a fantastic foundation to start from. Aesthetically, it has that classic late 1970s Japanese truck design. Clean body lines, a no-nonsense stance, and just enough character to make it stand out without being overly complicated. The design is simple but effective, which is exactly why people love these trucks. They're honest and straightforward. The seller has also noted that they're open to best offers, which gives potential buyers some flexibility to negotiate and work out a deal that feels right. For enthusiasts who want to get their foot in the door of the JDM world, or for someone who just appreciates the rugged simplicity of an old-school mini truck, this 1978 Datsun is an appealing choice that offers a lot of potential. Number 11. Now, for something a little different. If you're a true vintage enthusiast, especially if your heart leans toward unique, rare, and quirky Japanese wagons, you'll definitely want to take a serious look at this 1978 Datsun B210 wagon. Offered at $5,500 and located in Clifton, New Jersey, this little survivor is not something you see come up for sale every day. With its boxy silhouette, compact footprint, and unmistakably 70s styling, it embodies the charm and era when Japanese automakers were still carving out their place in the American market. Today, vehicles like this have become collectible not because they were luxury cars or muscle machines, but because they were practical, honest, and filled with personality. The car holds a clean title, which is always reassuring when dealing with something from this era. That said, it's being sold as a project, and the seller is upfront about that. It's not a polished showpiece. It's a survivor that's been around for nearly half a century and has a few flaws to prove it. There are some small rust spots here and there, nothing catastrophic, but visible enough that a new owner will likely want to address them. Mechanically, it's in need of some attention as well. The gas tank needs replacement, the brakes need work, and overall it could benefit from a full round of routine maintenance to get it back into solid daily driving condition. This isn't the right car for someone who wants to buy a finished vehicle and simply polish it on weekends. Instead, It's aimed at the kind of buyer who enjoys the process of bringing an older car back to life. The bones are good, and the foundation is there. You just have to decide what direction you want to take it in. Some buyers might envision a faithful, period-correct restoration, keeping the car exactly as it was when new, complete with its humble but charming factory features. Others might see it as a perfect canvas for a fun retro mod project, maybe adding a few performance upgrades or modern conveniences, while still keeping the character intact. Either way, it's a rewarding project waiting for the right person. The seller has also made it clear that they're not in a rush to move it and won't entertain lowball offers. So serious buyers only. As with many sellers of vintage cars, the rule applies here. If the ad is still posted, then the car is still available. For the right buyer, this Datsun B210 wagon represents a rare chance to own a piece of Japan's golden automotive era in wagon form, a body style that has all but disappeared but still oozes character and practicality. It's a little odd, a little quirky, and absolutely full of charm. Number 13. Now, if Lincoln was all about refined, understated American luxury, Cadillac was about making a statement. And nothing made that statement louder in the late 70s than the 1978 Cadillac Eldorado. This one is for sale in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, with an asking price of just $3,950. At that price, it's hard not to take notice. The Eldorado was Cadillac's personal luxury flagship, and in 1978, it still carried all the weight and prestige of the brand. Walk up to this car, and the first thing that grabs you is the grille, big, bold, and unmistakably Cadillac. The hood stretches out endlessly in front of you, while the sharp, squared-off lines give the car an imposing presence. This was the car you bought if you wanted people to know you'd made it, and decades later, it still has that aura. According to the seller, this Eldorado has just 79,000 original miles, which is relatively low given the car's age. And here's the good news. It starts and runs. For a car priced under $4,000, that's not something you can take for granted. Having a solid running start means you're not staring down a complete mechanical overhaul just to get it moving. Inside, the Eldorado came fully loaded from the factory, and this one hasn't lost that spirit. Think plush seating, power everything, and more chrome trim than you know what to do with. Cadillac engineers of this era believe comfort should be effortless, and they designed these cars accordingly. Sit in the driver's seat, and you're surrounded by features that were cutting edge in the late 70s. Now, it does need restoration. No one is pretending this is a turnkey show car, but what it does offer is a solid foundation. The bones are good, the originality is intact, and that's half the battle in a restoration. The fun part is imagining what it could become. Picture fresh paint, gleaming white wall tires, polished chrome bumpers, and that V8 humming quietly under the hood. You'd have yourself one of the most recognizable boulevard cruisers ever built. And here's the best part. You don't need to be a millionaire to get into the Cadillac game. For less than $4,000, you can own an authentic piece of American luxury history. Whether you're a seasoned collector, an enthusiast who loves wrenching on old iron, or someone who just wants to dip a toe into the classic car world without spending a fortune, this Eldorado represents opportunity. It's more than just a car. It's a statement, a project, and a chance to own something truly iconic. Number 14. Shifting gears from Detroit to across the pond, we got a classy slice of British motoring history. A 1967 Jaguar, located in Grover Beach, California. Priced at $6,000 firm. Jaguars from this era carry a different kind of appeal. Where American cars of the late 70s emphasized size and flash, the Brits were all about style, sophistication, and driving feel. This Jaguar is special because it doesn't just sit pretty, it actually runs and drives well. Many cars of this vintage end up as static garage projects, but not this one. Under the hood, it's been treated to a few smart upgrades, like an engine with electronic ignition, which means easier startups and more reliable performance compared to the old-school point system. The dual carburetors have been freshly rebuilt, so the car breathes and fuels properly, giving you that smooth, raspy Jaguar engine no fans know and love. Even better, this one comes with a manual transmission. That might seem like a small detail, but for enthusiasts, it's huge. A stick-shift Jaguar delivers a level of driver involvement that modern automatics just can't replicate. Rolling through the gears on a winding coastal road, feeling the engine respond to every input. That's what makes classic motoring so rewarding. Step inside, and you're greeted by an interior that's described as being in great condition. Classic Jaguars are known for their rich interiors, wood grain accents, leather seating, and a cockpit that feels intimate and driver-focused. It's the kind of cabin that makes you want to put on driving gloves and head out for a Sunday morning run. Of course, it's not perfect. The exterior shows some paint imperfections, and like nearly every Jaguar of its era, it's got an oil leak. But honestly, that's part of the charm. As enthusiasts like to joke, if it's not leaking, it's empty. The important part is that the car has a clean title and just 3 owners in its history, which is impressive for something approaching 60 years old. This car is ideal for someone who appreciates the romance of British motoring. Maybe you want to give it a light restoration and polish it into a showpiece, or maybe you just want a stylish weekend driver that makes every trip to the grocery store feel like an event. Either way, this Jaguar offers a ton of charm and character for money, and it's guaranteed to turn heads wherever it goes. Number 15. And then we come to something completely different. Raw muscle, old-school utility, and heavy-duty toughness in the form of a 1979 Ford F-250 Ranger Super Cab long bed, located in Puyallup, Washington, with an asking price of $4,000. This truck is pure Americana. While modern pickups come with touchscreens and heated seats, this one was built in a time when a truck's job was to work hard, haul heavy, and keep going no matter what. Under the hood sits a massive 460 cubic inch big block V8, one of Ford's most legendary power plants. It was built to tow trailers, haul loads, and never break a sweat doing it. This one's had some recent attention, too. It's got a freshly rebuilt 14007 4-barrel carburetor and a cleaned-out fuel system, which means it's running strong. Fire it up, and you get that unmistakable deep rumble that only a big block V8 can deliver. It's the kind of sound that makes people look up when you roll by. The odometer reads just 5,843 miles, though it's almost certainly rolled over. Still, these trucks were designed to handle hundreds of thousands of miles. The body is mostly solid, with some rust on the bed floor, but nothing that compromises its structure. The paint shows its age, but in a way that gives it an honest, no-nonsense look. This isn't a pampered showpiece. It's a workhorse, and it wears its history proudly. Being a super cab, you get extra space behind the front seats, which makes it more versatile than a standard cab. The long bed gives you plenty of room for cargo, whether you're hauling lumber, hay, or just a bed full of camping gear. And while it's a two-wheel drive, that makes it a little simple mechanically, and it's still more than capable for farm work or light-duty hauling. This is a kind of truck that appeals to people who love vintage Fords, people who want a project with real potential, or even someone who just want a tough old rig to use around the property. And let's be honest, there's just something undeniably cool about rolling around in a big, square-bodied truck with a big block under the hood for $4 grand. It's a ton of machine and a ton of character.